GM, we are live. We are back. Man, it's Wednesday. It's October. It's the day one of October. And you know what I mean? I needed to bring on somebody that's going to bring us the hype, bring us what is happening all over my socials. The past couple weeks, Multiplier was all over it. And I said, all right, yo, if we're going to start off October, we got to start off with a banger show. So, Maurice, what is going on? How you doing, man? What's happening, man? Like, give me the 411 on the excitement in right now with the studio.
Excitement paired with a little bit of, I have to say, fatigue. You know, we're looking to launch the beta today, so obviously the team is, you know, a little bit on edge, but I think we definitely built something cool, and like the initial user feedback has been profoundly encouraging. So we're psyched. I do have some bags under my eyes, but you know, the game's the game, and that's just something you have to accept if you try to build cool shit. So,
hey man, I don't really understand what you just said by like the bags under the eyes, because I work in crypto. It's 24/7 job. I mean, I haven't slept in, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years. But if you're sleeping, let me know. Are you hiring? Because if you need a marketing guy, let me know, man. I know one.
Nah, it's you know, you need to get some sleep in, especially if you're like doing some technical work or if you need to coordinate a lot of things. But yeah, it's just an exciting time. Pretty happy about it.
Yeah, look, I just don't want my mom to walk in and just say, "Son, are you winning yet?" And I'll be like, "I'm almost there," you know.
To be fair, I think for the past 3 weeks, I think we all are. So I think everybody's in a slightly elated mood. And I wish I was in Singapore right now. I think I've only skipped token 2049 I think it's been once before. All my friends are there, but you know, I'm a working man. I need to work. I need to release a product. So, you know, sacrifices must be made.
Yeah, dude. It's funny. Everybody, you know, I was like, I'm definitely not missing token. I haven't missed token in many years. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, this work is just too crazy. Things are happening. And now I was like, cool. Now I'm getting all the messages of like, yo, dude, are you going to this tonight? Hey, are you going to be here? And I'm like, guys, I'm home. And I'm just like, man, the FOMO is starting to hit really hard. And man, it is what it is.
I feel you, brother. I feel exactly the same way. I'm literally like helping friends. So it's a funny thing. And this is also Solana related, right? So there's like 3 friends. One of them is Wanton Wallet on Twitter, who actually ran the US, I'm not going to like dox him or anything, but did cool shit that was like semi-TradFi. Meeting with a friend of mine who's on the original AI16Z devs, and then, you know, a market making friend who works at, you know, pretty large market maker. So I'm here in Europe right now, focusing on the release with my team, and I'm trying to set up meetings for my friends in Token 2049. But they're sending me cool pictures of the food that they're getting, the events that they're going, and yeah, it is a little bit of FOMO. But ultimately, you know, I think life really is about seasons and seasonality. Sometimes you're gonna have a little bit more time, like, you know, you're going to just have a little bit more fun. You're going to be a little bit more relaxed. Sometimes you need to lock in. Sometimes you need to like go through the gauntlet. Right now, for me, 18 months of work are converging into a couple of days. So I'd rather stay tightly locked in and make sure the release goes well, and, you know, make sure that our user base and all of our other stakeholders have a fantastic experience.
But here's the thing to it all, right? The main event, the thing that you don't miss all year is Breakpoint. And that's in December. It's in Abu Dhabi. I don't care about any other conference. You know what? I'm so locked in and focused on Abu Dhabi right now that people could tell me like, yeah, you know, at Token, I won this or whatever. I'm just going to be like, man, I'm focused right now. I'm in my lane.
Yep. I think, you know, there's definitely a hierarchy in terms of conferences. I had a few, you know, discussions with friends, and I think I, you know, talked about this on Twitter as well. You know, there's a certain point, unless you're trying to list your token on a centralized exchange, where going to a conference is literally just, I want to party with my internet friends. Literally, that's all it is. So I've definitely done a lot of partying with my internet friends before. Like, going to a conference for me, like, it's like, you know, you just do it for recreation. It's not like, it's not going to do anything for me work wise. But Breakpoint is great. Breakpoint last year at Token was great because those two events were happening in parallel. Accelerate this year was cool too. Shout out to the Meteor team for giving me a sponsor badge. I was like ore farming, throughout the entire event. And yeah, it's conferences have a hierarchy. Some of them are cool, some of them are less cool, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Look, man, appreciate you coming on to the show. Excited to learn more about what multiplier is. But dude, give me the 411. If I'm a Web2 normie, how are you explaining to me? How are we onboarding users? What's that messaging? Give me that, right to the cut, right to the chase. I get it, like within the next 30 seconds, 90 seconds.
Look, with the current build that we have, we don't intend to I believe that onboarding like the next 1 billion users to crypto, I think that's more of a meme. And it's been the case for the past 3 years. Ultimately, we've built a cool experience where a platform where users can play a variety of PRNG or Oracle-based games, and they don't get rewarded in play to earn mechanics. They don't get rewarded in cash. They get rewarded with spot market tokens or market receipts, market positions. So literally what we're like, it's a fun experience for a user who can come in, and we basically turn gambling positive expected value. It's positive EV, right? Because you win something, our product constantly buys those assets or those tokens from the market, and it makes them go up, right? So if you win something, even if the house has an edge, in many cases, you will still effectively be positive EV, right? And nobody has ever done this before. But from like a more top-down perspective, yeah, it's a platform where we can take gameplay, where we can take entertainment, and all this non-productive, non-rotational, non-discretionary capital that usually sits on, purely functioning gaming platforms or iGaming platforms. We actually make it interact with the market. So there's like $900 million coming in every single week in terms of iGaming deposits on chain, and that money doesn't really go anywhere. It just sits on the balance sheet of that company. And the whole idea was, can we build a mechanism? Can we build a product? Can we build a backing? Can we build a system where that money can actually be, rotated, where that money can become a liquidity for the market? So that's why, we have a lot of taglines for Multiplier. It's Gamified Capital Markets. It's the people's market maker. But ultimately, it's gameplay that moves markets. And nobody has ever done this before. And I think it's exciting from a lot of different vectors.
Yeah. Why do you think no one's actually made this, right? Like, think about it. Like, it's like, man, we've seen so much innovation in crypto, and so much things have been tried to gamified, but such a way to say, hey, how do we take assets? How do we take your assets and actually have fun with it, almost in a way? It's almost too simple and too easy, but yet why has no one tried it?
That's the thing, because it looks simple, but it isn't simple, because you need to create a trade execution engine underneath that. So how it works is if like Bob, spends $20, someone's $200 worth of a position. We have our own bankroll. So we basically act as like a hedge fund, not a hedge fund, but like a market maker almost. We buy those tokens or that market position. So it might be, a spot market token, it'd be a shitcoin, be a meme coin. Kolshi is launching their new liquidity layer, right? Representing all their positions on Solana. We can buy those positions for users. And if they win, it's almost like we subsidize their spot market entry price, right? But at the same time, if Bob spends $20 and his reward is $100 worth of some kind of position, we inject those $100 into that position. So if it's a token, it goes into the liquidity pool. So if you have 10,000 Bobs playing at the same time, a massive amount of buy pressure is being directed towards the assets that we're featuring. So it sounds simple. It looks like a toy, right? It looks like a toy. But underneath that, why am I fascinated about this is that it effectively is almost like, to use like a very right curve term, it's almost like a new primitive. It's a new form of microstructure where we can create these huge convex payoffs on both sides. So I think pulling that off is pretty hard because you have to trade on behalf of users. You can't hold those funds either. So it's just pretty hard to get done. But we're a pretty solid team, and we got it done.
Yeah, you mentioned the back end of it pretty well here, and it makes me want to think or ask you like the front end of it, right? The game loop, exactly how you gamify it. What is that loop look like? How do you keep that value loop sustainable, right? Because I think that's the next question, right? It's like, hey man, you got the back end, but how do you keep these gamers and coming back for more on a daily basis? Where do you see that sustainable loop? How did you guys design that? What's the alpha behind that?
Sure. So it's been effectively 18, 19 months of research and experimental work. We as a team, we've built protocols like risk finance, mangrove exchange, a lot of, big names in DeFi. We're DeFi engineers by trade, effectively. And without like talking about how the entire system works and how we add value throughout the entire market stack for the user, like how I think about the architecture, it's like you have fair wagering into real market assets. That's number one. That's let's call it like layer 0, right? No pun intended. Shout out to Brian though. Layer 0 and layer 1 is like you have effectively like a constellation system and an experience point system, right? So if you're taking on a loss while interacting with this experience, you never leave empty-handed. You always get something in return. And the layer 2 system for the incentives is like you can have different types of like random jackpots. You might, in the future win exotic RWAs, right? So I built a product before that generated 60 million in revenue in 2 months that focused on exotic RWAs. And you know how people are completely rabid and insane over Pokemon cards right now. So TCGs and all of that. Those are things and integrations that we include them in the system. So fair wagering, right? For that interacts with the market. You even out the bad feeling of losing. They have like that massive upside from all these cool things on the platform. But once again, now is the most important part, which is the layer 3 part. Once again, no puns intended. Shout out to Brandon Daria. I was actually talking to Brandon yesterday. So every single time you win, right, we purchase a market position for you. If 1,000 people concurrently win at the same time, it makes the line go up. It makes the price go up, right? So if you're familiar with blast season or all of these like L2 incentive farming campaigns where you play like around products or do something to farm an airdrop, I might have to plug in my laptop for a second, might leave for 2 minutes. The charger here isn't working. Basically what we can replicate with the system is like perpetual blast season, right? And it's not just, money that disappears. It's money that constantly gets injected to the market, right? So once again, there's a lot of different narratives, positive, some fun, gameplay that moves markets, gamified capital markets, the people's market maker. Really like the skin that we have now for the games. It's just a start. We have a pretty like good idea where we want to move forward, but I think we built something that is already fun towards our testing user base, and people are spending money on it and having fun. Is the most important thing.
Yeah, man. You mentioned a couple things here. Again, understanding the loop and everything. But one of the things that I always like to say, like anytime I see something that's gamified this way, what's the value of time with what you're building, right? Because that's where things get really like become real fun, right? Because if the value of time with the value of the monetary asset there can actually give you what you are looking for without a negative EV, well, what does that all kind of like transform into? Yeah. And you built kind of a monster almost in the sense that if you're able to solve the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, so you win a token or a position or an asset. You might have spent 10 minutes session time enjoying the product. You come back 2 days later and it's 5x and you didn't have to trade and you got it for cheap.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. No, and that's the biggest
simple
thing, right? Yeah. Because it's a the marketing hack of all of anything that anybody ever sells is the value of time, right? Like how can you solve something either be quicker, be faster, be easier, simply said as peace of mind, right? And it's like, man, one of the things here in crypto that we've had very difficult times is understanding that of, hey, like we even started this conversation of, do you even sleep 24/7 being into this? And
I will need to bounce for a minute and get a
Okay.
different charger because this one isn't working. My laptop's gonna die in a second. I'll be back in a second.
All right, no problem, no problem. While we get them back, I'll actually play through. For those that are watching and listening and seeing, definitely want to check out their website. It's multiplier.fun. They're also on socials as multiplier.fun. And for those that were kind of wanting to get involved or getting interested in it, here's a little bit of a sneak preview of what they are. So those that want to, they as Loris mentioned, they are coming to alpha to beta, and actually it's going to get released today, which is actually really, really cool that we have him on today. Here's a snip of the website, how to navigate it, how to get involved for those that are looking to get more into or understand more of what's being said during the talk. Definitely check them out. I had a lot of fun that got access to it a week ago. As a true degen, I was definitely on there playing around and checking it out. But like he said, there's a loop here that's really interesting to be able to get involved.
Yeah, I'm back. And the cool thing about this, like how we see ourselves is, look, we're not game designers by trade, though we build kind of like systems that we basically, generate more revenue than a lot of Series A teams, which is kind of funny, right? That's why we're pretty big for a small team. We're 11 people, right? Very experienced. But it's like the whole idea behind the platform and why we have that platform layer is third-party developers are plugging in and building experiences on top of us, right? So there's a former Bitcraft framework ventures funded, sorry about that. I'm trying to like make myself relax and a little bit cozy. Deploying systems on us. A lot of other great teams, well-known companies in the space are going to be deploying experiences on us. So mostly this is just like our own stuff, right? To test out the system initially. But the cool thing about, what happens here is that, and by the way, when you're playing this, these are real market interactions, right? We are executing a trade on your behalf, literally. We are executing a trade on your behalf, right? Though the odds will be a little bit different in an hour. I'm just trying to make that super clear. Actually, you're interacting with a production live environment. Oh, actually, just if you stop here for a second.
It's actually, I'm playing the video that was recorded.
Yeah. So, oh shit. So on the video on the left side, you can actually see effectively how our system with the little M letters is propping up the price of that particular token. So as you can already imagine, we can make the system work towards effectively any asset class, right? People play and we buy cool shit for them. And with a little bit of luck and a little bit of, gumption, the line goes up.
And only up.
Well, we can't guarantee that. But it's a left curve. Look, and people are trying to build this very extremely smart stuff, right? Which is fair. As an on-chain, a user of a lot of on-chain apps, mostly, I like perp dexes. I like, I got started with things like ribbon finance, back in the day. So that was, a long time ago. There was some inherent complexity there, some financial engineering, and that's, fine. But what if you can take the $1 billion that are coming in every single week that's non-rotational, quote unquote, dumb money, and make it actually work for the market? And I think that's, pun intended, a gamble worth gambling for, right? What if you can bring all that liquidity on the market? So that is effectively the idea behind Multiplier. And
how easy, what's the message here, to even bring partners on board? Because you've brought Bonk and all this stuff, but as you start looking at it, as you start seeing it, man, this could help those, or even work with other, tokens, memes, culture tokens, whatever it is out there, especially anything that's really built.
Not just tokens. I think an interesting thing yesterday. So an Alliance back company, they just launched PMX, which is almost like a launch pad for prediction markets, right? You let's say deploy 2K of liquidity. Once it reaches let's call it the bonding threshold, that prediction market is effectively bonded. You can earn LP fees. That is something that I've been using Polycule for a while. but a pretty early user. They also have a token out, by the way. You can use that to inject liquidity into a lot of interesting markets. So a way to think about it, if we want to go right curve on it, we take money that doesn't usually get injected into the market. We're like the philosopher's stone, making it into liquidity. And then people can bribe the system, the platform, to tell the protocol where the money goes, right? We currently don't have that in the demo. That is a feature set that has been built out. But like, if you launch a token, or sorry about like the little thing, I'm currently visiting some family. If you launch like a token or a market, you can effectively bribe the system. Yeah, why is it so weird? You can bribe the system to direct the capital liquidity exactly where you want it to go. So historically, what we've done, and we've been like experimenting with like these kind of like market structures for the past 9-10 months, we've like featured assets or tokens with like 300K market cap, and like a week later it's a 20 million, right? So think about how the system works, right? People play, they get rewarded in this asset, and if they get rewarded in the asset, liquidity gets injected. But we know that if the price is going up, then traders are going to pile in. So even think about, multiplier right now. If an asset gets featured and you know that we're going to be constantly buying it, what would be the rational thing for you to do? Buy it now, right? Because you know it's going to go up. All right, that's number one. It's really a market signaling mechanism, a market signaling mechanism. Secondly, you have reflexivity. Liquidity in asset does not compound linearly, right? So if you put in 200K of lick, other people will see that lick coming in. And once again, it's a market signal. You're going to come in and pile in because you think you're going to make money. So there's like the two things providing like the tailwinds, and you have the headwinds. People make money even through our gamification layer, but they want to sell those assets. That's fine, right? People want to make money. It's very important for our users to make money, right? So they come back, or they generally just, spread good word of mouth about the product. It's like, holy shit. It's like, it smells like something that has a tremendous amount of house edge, but it works completely differently, right? It's almost like subverting these extractive models that people usually deploy for systems like these. And yeah, it's like, I want to create like a $50 million runner. Like once I do that, I know like the system works. We ran stuff up from 200K to 20 million.
So
I want to do 50, right? And imagine like a token sets at 500K, and you played a loot box game, or like any of the dozens of games are going to be deployed by our third-party developers. And you just get into it early, right? And there's so much volume going through our system and so much market signaling for that asset. And people are talking about how we're market making that asset. And 10 days later, you wake up and it's a $30 million market cap. And through multiplier, you got it at 500K. Congratulations. You can buy yourself an M5 competition. That is a regular user journey for me, right? And on top of that, think about what we're doing. Like initially, we're partnering with Bonk and Radium. It's all Radium pools. Radium makes money from us. The Bonk ecosystem, liquidity gets injected, right? So it's like win and help win. That is the underlying philosophy.
It makes me want to like go deeper into the issues in the gaming space that exist, or just in crypto space, on projects that take a long time to develop, right? Gaming is going through its own kind of like attention war, and it's been through it quite some time right now, in the sense that some of these games take long time to build, especially good games, right? It takes years. Grand Theft Auto took 6-7 years. If you look at some of the games in crypto right now, even the leading ones have taken 4 or 5 years to get to where they are, but their tokens have been live. And it's, man, what was out there during the time that they were building that they could amplify or work with? And for me, it's like things like this make a lot of sense to partner with and have a little fun with your community. At the end of the day, we know the aspect of finance that we are in, right? Anytime you have a financial instrument with your game, you're playing a finance game as well. And so if you're playing the finance game, learn how to play the finance game with the finance people that you have as the audience, right? Because too many times gamers or games developers are too focused on wanting to go after the gamer. And let's be real, there isn't that many gamers in Web3. Let's just say actual real gamers, like there is targeting the gaming audience. And sure, there is a mix of gamers here in Web3, but they are very much more crypto curious. They're very much more looking to explore this. And it's like, man, to me, multiplier makes a lot of sense if you're able to help or work with existing products, existing games, and amplify marketing in a different way.
Yeah, it's like price is a function of distribution and vice versa, right? If we make the price go up, it provides distribution and attention to you. We frankly, look, I don't care what assets get routed, right? Like just bribe the system. Think about Curve, right? A lot of my design inspiration comes from Curve. Once it's permissionless, you can route that liquidity wherever you want it to go. If it's a shitcoin, it's a shitcoin. If it's, you know, some high variance market, it's a high variance market. If it's a more mature token, sure. But the system works best when it's like something relatively new, right? Because we can create those runners. But ultimately, like what I just want to do is provide the tools for people to coordinate and decide where they want to bribe the liquidity, where they want to like direct that flow. So yeah, absolutely. But they're like, you don't have to partner with us, right? Yeah. It's just once the system's completely permissionless, you can just effectively bribe the system to get the liquidity, right? Yeah. We don't want to be part of that process. We're not an exchange. We're not doing any listings. We're not a launch pad. We're not originating capital. We're taking dumb capital and turning it productive.
How do we become the like Robin Hood of DeFi game skins? Like, you know, it's like, you know, it's there. It just, man, like, you know, what is that marketing plan for the next 6 months? What's the roadmap look like for the next 6 months? Like, what are we expecting over the next 6 months? You're going to come out with a beta today. Tell us what's beta going to give us. What's that?
Hopefully. Yeah, we're still like.
Sorry. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. It should. Things are looking pretty well. Really, it's getting more developers to deploy. Finishing off, you know, the bribing system, the curation system, as we call it. Generating volume, making runners go up. Creating runners, pushing a lot of liquidity, enabling new markets, improving the user experience, and how I see the system evolving over time is like, I don't even literally want to have a front end. I want like these kind of gamify mechanics to exist on exchanges, wallets, more traditional, you know, trading platforms. We just take that liquidity, we route it to the assets and reward the users who are using those products. Like in like 6 or 9 months, I don't even want us to have, I just want us to have a website with like, you know, SDKs, APIs, and ABIs, right? We're not game developers, but we know like this skin is the most high velocity one, right? Because it provides convexity on both sides. But, you know, we want to focus on what we're good at, which is, you know, bringing in like very large partners to support us and the underlying like engineering and mechanism design, right? There's people who are a lot better at building games, who have a lot more experience, who can provide, you know, we try our best. I think they're really cool games, but I think there's people better than us who can, you know, provide something better, provide something more fun in a lot of ways. What we just want to do is, you know, provide them with the tooling, right? Provide them with the bankroll. You don't have to put in your own money. We have our own money, right? You can just tap into that. So if you're like a cracked out Zoomer, who potentially wants to set up, you know, a MoonPay Privy wallet integration and post like brain rot on TikTok for people to play your game, and you want to run it up for 2 weeks, and maybe it leads into a TG that you can launch on Believe, you can do that through Multiplier and probably make a shit ton of money along the way.
You know, man, it like my mind's going a million miles an hour right now with ideas and thoughts, and you know, it's
cool idea, isn't it? It's like a very simple 3 simple insights. Can gameplay move markets? Can we take dumb capital and make it work for the market that would be stuck elsewhere? And can you take the mathematics of gambling and enable it to have a market-making functionality? I think those are like those 3 insights that drives the entire idea, the design. And if you have those down, there's a lot of like cool little things that you can do around that.
Yeah, and I think it's when you mentioned gameplay, and when you were talking about gameplay of being like, hey, I'm not a game developer, but I do think one thing is like when it comes down to something like this, the gameplay has to be simple,
Yep.
stupid, like type thing, right? Like it can't
Absolutely.
be overcomplicated, because then there's a skill issue, and the skill issue is something that will deter somebody from actually wanting to get really involved, because again, I'm not gambling my personal skills versus something, right? That's that aspect of it. But I do think like, hey, keeping it easy, keeping it interactive, keeping it being able to have the loop to the next one makes a lot of sense. So
Yep.
I that was a really cool point from you. All right, you've talked about what's happening. We talked a little bit about the philosophy, a little bit about what the next success is. What's that last thing to question to you before I know we're coming around right now the market. What's that last message you want to call to partners to send you a DM right now and partner up with Multiplier?
We have, I think our inbound is like pretty, we're pretty cooked. So please don't send any DMs right now. But look, it's just try out the product. Like it's dumb in a good way. And that's why I love it. Right. It makes me happy that it's dumb. I think people should build more insightful yet dumb things. Right.
At the end of the day, we know what moves markets. We just look at across the past 5 years on certain things that have moved, right? And it's like, man, it's so simple to think, and it's like, man, why not reinvent or skin whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, man. The pudding is there. Just take what you can and make the best of it.
I absolutely agree with that. Just enjoy the games, and we'll probably make sure that you come out on top.
Yeah. But give us the plug. What's the website? What's the Twitter account? Make sure the Discord. Where should we make sure that we, as soon as this drops in the next 24 to 48 hours?
Follow Multiplier Fun on Twitter, and you'll have all the information that you need.
There you go, guys. Well, man, Loris, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you. I'll let you go back to the kitchen and start cooking again. Get it out. Hopefully we get it out in the next 24, 48 hours. We'll be making sure that we're participating and engaging with it.
All right. Thank you for having me, though. And
thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I'll see you there, and I'll make sure that you get some extra rewards once you hop on.
I'll make sure I clip that.